The world needs to pay attention to who this man is, because he is inspiring an African revolution against the West right now. This is 37-year-old Abrahim Traore. He is the second youngest head of state in the world right now, and what his supporters say he represents is simple: African independence. You see, Burkina Faso is a former French colony, and since he became leader of the country in 2022, he has accused France of neocolonialism, which in other words is when a country is still trying to control the other, but now just through more hush means. So when he seized power, he started to make drastic changes. He ordered the French troops to leave the country. He expelled French diplomats and Western media. He banned the use of British and French colonial-style judicial wigs in efforts to decolonize the country's judicial system. And then he started making major changes. He started cutting ties with foreign companies involved in Burkina Faso's infrastructure development, like roads, bus stations, airports, and then started replacing them with locally equipped and trained workers, and then acquired around 1,000 road building machines for them to use. He started introducing policies to boost local control over food production and processing. He started pushing for greater state control over energy, reducing the dependence on foreign suppliers of electricity. And then, in the clearest statement to the West yet, he has started buying back a number of the country's major gold mines previously owned by foreign entities. He called the purchases a reclaiming of national wealth from exploitative foreign ownership. But here's where things get crazy, because what started in Burkina Faso has now become something much bigger. They've now joined forces with Mali and Niger to form the Alliance of Sahel States, basically saying we've got each other's backs and we're done with all influence from the West. Ivory Coast and Senegal are now also pushing to remove foreign military bases, and a former Nigerian senator described Traore's actions as the spirit of a continent yearning to be free, dignified, and prosperous. And that is exactly why we're seeing it slowly transition from one country in Africa to Africa as a whole. Because the question that's increasingly being asked is, why is such a resource-rich continent that literally powers the world so poor themselves? Now, here's the problem. We've seen revolutions like this in Africa before, and they haven't ended well. Back in the 1980s, Thomas Sankara led Burkina Faso with almost the exact same vision Traore has now, rejecting foreign aid, nationalizing roads and railways, and calling for true African independence. But just 4 years later, he was assassinated. His policies were reversed, and French firms regained contracts for roads, railways, and ports in Western Africa. So is Traore walking that same path? We don't know. But there are reports that he has survived 19 assassination attempts in 2 years. However, not all those claims have been verified. And it's also important to note that Traore has his critics. Some call him a dictator because he rose to power in a coup. He's postponed elections, he's banned the media, and he's cracked down on dissent, and critics saying no country has ever developed under democracy. So the question is, what do you think? Is this just another dictator grappling for power, or the man to ignite a long-needed change for Africa?
Abrahim Traore just posted his family, 1 girl and 2 boys. Look at the wife, very simple, no expensive clothes, no makeup, just simple. Look at Abrahim Traore, just military clothes, no expensive suits, no expensive shoes. Abrahim Traore said that she is the love of his life. He said that she's the one who takes care of him when he's very stressed, when everybody's trying to take him out. She is always there for him. Apparently, they've been together for a long time. When he was still a teenager, she was the first girlfriend. For those who are asking if Abrahim Traore is single, he's not single. As you can see, he has a wife and 3 kids. And he loved them so much. I get a lot of comments, people asking, where is the wife of Abrahim Traore? Is he single? I want to be his girlfriend. He's not single. Just keep off. So this is the first time that you are seeing the family of Abrahim Traore. This is the first time that he is showing them off. So what do you think about this family? What do you think when you look at them? What do you think when you look at the wife? I don't know why people are trying so much to take him out. Look at him, seriously.
Burkina Faso's 35-year-old president Abrahim Traore is boldly defying the long-standing notion among African leaders that one must be wealthy to command respect from their people and the global community. It's extremely uncommon to witness an African president leading a modest lifestyle, particularly when their country is grappling with economic challenges. Many African leaders own luxurious cars, reside in opulent mansions, wear expensive custom-made suits, and even travel in lavish private jets, seemingly unconcerned about the plight of their people. In stark contrast to these extravagant lifestyles, Abrahim Traore, the president of Burkina Faso, chooses not to prioritize luxury. Instead, his focus lies in placing the needs of his people first, even going so far as to reduce his own salary. Abrahim Traore draws frequent comparisons to Thomas Sankara, primarily due to his modest lifestyle and unyielding dedication to his people. Much like Sankara, Traore prefers to drive a simple car and eschews the opulence of expensive suits in favor of military attire. This was evident during the Russia-Africa summit, where Traore stood out among his African counterparts by donning military combat clothing, complete with a distinctive red beret and tactical gloves. Moreover, Traore's refusal to accept a president's salary and his steadfast commitment to maintaining a salary as a military captain serve as a poignant testament to his unwavering commitment to serving his country. This and many more will be covered in today's video. Prepare to be amazed by the impact of this young visionary leader on the transformation of Burkina Faso. Before we proceed, we kindly ask that you consider showing your support by liking and subscribing to our channel. Abrahim Traore made history in September 2022 by becoming the world's youngest head of state. He assumed power after he and a group of junior military officers staged a coup to oust Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Damiba, who had taken office in a coup earlier in the year. Traore justified their actions by stating in a televised address on October 1, 2022, that Damiba had failed to effectively address the ongoing issue of insurgency. Damiba was displaced by Traore, who, despite being 7 years his junior and occupying a lower position in the military hierarchy, held the rank of capitaine, denoting a captain in the French military structure. Burkina Faso, as a former French colony, adopted the military command hierarchy from France, where ranks above capitaine include commandant, lieutenant colonel, and colonel. Although Traore's rapid ascent may have been perceived as meteoric by many, within military circles, it was anticipated. Following service in junior roles within Burkina Faso's military, Traore's career trajectory notably advanced in 2014 with his deployment to Mali as part of the United Nations peacekeeping mission, MINUSMA. Testimonies from fellow soldiers within Burkina Faso's military have previously underscored Traore's valor during his deployment to Mali, particularly in overcoming a daunting, complex attack by militant extremists in the northern Timbuktu region at the age of 26. In addition to his service in Mali, Traore played a prominent role in combating insurgency in Burkina Faso between 2019 and 2022, culminating in his promotion to the rank of captain in 2020. Following the successful overthrow of Damiba's administration in September 2022, Traore, aged 34 at the time, acknowledged the potential scrutiny surrounding his relatively young age in relation to his eligibility for the presidency. Addressing government officials in October 2022, he stated, "I understand that my age sets me apart from most of you present. The events that transpired were not of our choosing, but rather a necessity." Subsequently, Traore's international prominence waned until July 2023, when he participated in the Russia-Africa summit in St. Petersburg, alongside 16 other African heads of state, convened by President Vladimir Putin. As I told you earlier, while his counterparts donned their customary opulent suits, Traore made a distinct impression by appearing in military combat attire, complete with a red beret and tactical gloves. The dress code earned him the attention, but his speech during the Russia-Africa summit, held between July 27th and 28th, earned him plaudits. The issue lies in witnessing African heads of state who failed to provide for their people in need, echoing the rhetoric of the imperialists who label us as militia. Consequently, they inadvertently portray us as individuals who do not uphold human rights, stated Traore. We, as leaders of African nations, must refrain from behaving like puppets manipulated by external forces. We must prioritize our sovereignty and act in the best interest of our people, Traore added. Traore strongly criticized African presidents who appear content to accept handouts. He specifically addressed President Vladimir Putin's announcement on July 27, in which he pledged to send free grain to Africa. Traore expressed gratitude for the gesture, but used it as an opportunity to convey a message to African heads of state. He emphasized the need for African leaders to prioritize achieving self-sufficiency in food production and supply for their people. Traore urged them to learn from the successes of other nations in achieving this goal. He stressed that at the next forum, African leaders should not attend without having taken concrete steps to ensure the food security and self-sufficiency of their nations. Traore's statements drew comparisons to those articulated in the early 1980s by the esteemed Thomas Sankara, who, like Traore, assumed the presidency of Burkina Faso through a coup. Leaving aside Abraham Traore's early life, let us now shift our focus to Traore's achievements. It is an indisputable reality that Abraham Traore is amassing a substantial degree of trust and backing within Burkina Faso and across the African continent in comparison to other African leaders. Just a few days prior, a multitude of citizens engaged in demonstrations, advocating for an extension of Abraham Traore's transitional tenure, which was originally slated to conclude in July. Subsequently, a recent charter has been ratified, permitting Burkina Faso's military leader to prolong their authority for an additional 5 years. Subsequent to the endorsement of the new charter subsequent to national deliberations on Saturday, May 25th. The deliberations convened in the capital city of Ouagadougou encompassed representatives from civil society, security forces, and transitional legislators, albeit the limited involvement of political parties in the process. Even after the signing of the new charter, many citizens were left unsettled. While decision-makers debated inside the conference hall about extending the transition, a group of impassioned youth gathered outside, fervently advocating for Captain Traore to lead Burkina Faso for the next 10 years. This fervent display of confidence in Traore's leadership underscores the deep-seated divisions and complexities in the public sentiment regarding the nation's future trajectory. Abraham Traore has been recognized for his practical approach to political ideology. He has addressed a significant economic challenge in Burkina Faso by pointing out the absence of a domestic gold refinery. Despite the country's status as a major global gold supplier, miners were forced to export raw ore to European countries for refining. In response to this issue, Traore has taken proactive steps to initiate the construction of a gold refinery within Burkina Faso. This strategic decision is anticipated to yield numerous job opportunities and contribute to the overall economic prosperity of the country. President Abraham Traore of Burkina Faso has spearheaded a series of impactful economic measures, including the implementation of substantial tax reductions and collaborative efforts with the private sector to facilitate access to capital for young entrepreneurs. Notably, Traore has introduced the innovative concept of popular shareholding, aimed at privatizing government assets and ventures to enable public investment in the nation's development. This initiative saw 20% of the government-owned telecommunications company offered for public purchase, resulting in a highly successful venture that generated $60 million in revenue for critical projects. President Traore has also demonstrated his commitment to fiscal responsibility by reducing the salaries of all government ministers and officials by 20%. Furthermore, he has declined a presidential salary, choosing instead to maintain his earnings at the level of a military captain, thus exemplifying his selfless dedication to serving his country. Ibrahim astounded journalists by asserting his commitment to defending his people's right to protest, even in the face of criticism of his own actions, emphasizing his role as a servant of the people. His unwavering declarations regarding the trust placed in him and his colleagues to protect the nation's future are a welcome departure from the prevailing attitudes among leaders in many African countries, where leaders often consider themselves as sovereigns and their citizens as subjects. In the current state of Burkina Faso's leadership, Captain Abraham Traore serves as the president, shouldering significant responsibilities during a critical period for the nation. Despite his prominent position, he has maintained a remarkable level of discretion regarding his personal life, keeping it largely private from the public eye. While Captain Ibrahim Traore's professional endeavors and actions as a leader are well documented, there is currently no widely known or publicized information about his family or any romantic relationships. This low profile on personal matters has allowed him to concentrate on the task at hand and navigate the challenges of leadership with determination and focus. As the leader of Burkina Faso during this transitional phase, Captain Ibrahim Traore's primary focus is likely on steering the country towards stability and progress and addressing the pressing issues faced by the nation. As of the current date, information regarding the net worth of Captain Ibrahim Traore remains undisclosed. In light of his position as the transition president of Burkina Faso, specifics pertaining to his financial matters are maintained as private within the public domain. In regard to today's video, we would appreciate it if you could subscribe, like, and share it. Additionally, we welcome your thoughts in the comments section below. Burkina Faso's president, Captain Ibrahim Traore, swapped his military boots for football cleats, taking on legends like JJ Okocha and Emmanuel Adebayor in a friendly match. The big question: was he commanding the game like he commands his country? Or did Okocha dribble him back to his office? Either way, Traore showed he's not just a leader, but also a baller. Should more presidents play football? Drop your thoughts in the comments.
Incredible! Captain Ibrahim Traore has done something amazing once again. Take a good look at what Burkina Faso looked like before Captain Ibrahim Traore came into power. Now, look at what it looks like today. And now, see what Captain Ibrahim Traore is preparing. Sit back and relax. Here's exactly what's happening. Don't forget to like this video. We'll explain everything. Captain Ibrahim Traore has launched a development project to build a futuristic city. This city will give Burkina Faso a completely new image. Don't be surprised if by 2035, you can no longer tell the difference between Burkina Faso and the United States. If you didn't know, it will be very easy for Captain Ibrahim Traore to turn Burkina Faso into a huge futuristic city. Why? Because Burkina Faso's gold reserves are 5 times more abundant than those of the United States, with a tremendously rich underground. And this is exactly what Captain Ibrahim Traore is preparing. If you're a big fan of Captain Ibrahim Traore, drop your country's flag in the comments. Captain Ibrahim Traore is writing history. I'm just here to tell the story. Don't forget to like,
all these buildings when you see for years, so now the Abraham Traore and I build all this building under 2 years when he take day power. Now he take build all this building. He say in more measure say Africa, Burkina Faso, turn Europe. All this skyscraper when long go up when you see here. So he say now he personally build that. He say Africa now get everything it takes. And why I call like say now Africa now call be the quack side be like village. Why Europe will never get anything safe. Now I call get all those long skyscraper. So now he build all these houses for the less privileged and the rest. They're not the parent for all these houses when he build for years. So he just build them for the less privileged of Burkina Faso. Make the cost people when if they make the cost stay, and they're not the parent. Just see this skyscraper, and I say not get anything to do with Oyibo. He said in intention now to make Burkina Faso the most beautiful country for Africa. When I just see all the skyscraper, when I see all the building, now America won't cock buy for we so. When I just see her.
And announced the closure of the university in Addis Ababa to face the threat. I did not see any action from the African Union to protect these headquarters. Most Western states saw Addis Ababa falling, packing up, and leaving. Ethiopia fought, found an internal solution, and is living more or less in peace today. The children of Congo have been dying for years. Several other conflicts, such as in Sudan, exist on the continent. We would have liked to see the African Union generate the forces and all the necessary strategies to support these states so they can regain peace. For nearly 10 years, the Sahel has been the theater of international terrorism. But we see no support from these organizations to find a solution to this problem. Worse, a few days ago, a country foreign to Africa.
Recently, there is a so-called NGO. It's not even an NGO. Because NGO stands for non-governmental organization. They are not non-governmental because they are funded by a federal budget, by a state. This so-called NGO produces reports claiming that the FDS and the VDP commit abuses. It went in here, it came out there. It's to tarnish your morale. It's to scare you, to prevent you from being able to fight. No. Moreover, we are going to file a complaint against this NGO because people need to understand something. What is happening to us here? It's true that they have manipulated part of our populations in the Sahel here, but they didn't have that kind of weaponry. What brought such significant weaponry into their ranks? It's Libya. Who destroyed Libya? It's this NGO, the same NGO that made false reports and gave them to those who wanted to create a rebellion so that people would intervene and overthrow Gaddafi. And the powder keg ended up being poured into the Sahel. These millions of lives that have been taken in the Sahel, we must file a complaint against this NGO because it is responsible for these false reports it made to support this thesis of attacking Libya. They have no moral lessons to give us. Look at the world. Let them go defend human rights all over the world first before coming here. We are fortunate to have similar situations. In this world, you voluntarily committed yourselves. There are countries where people are forcibly taken, killed. You leave or you die. Others, even while trying to flee, end up dying. They don't talk about human rights because these people see us as subhumans. They see us as slaves. That's how it is in their minds. They have never changed their mindset, but it's up to us to show them that we are not slaves and we will never accept this state of affairs. It should not affect your morale. In the history of the world, there have been wars. And during the Second World War, people organized themselves to defend all over the place. But there is a country that could not defend itself, which had to come and take our ancestors to go defend them. And today that same country wants to give us lessons. The pot calling the kettle black. No. You are the descendants of those same ancestors who went to defend others, who liberated the world from Nazism. Today you are fighting for your lands. These same individuals dare to create terms to tarnish you. We oppose this. We will never agree. Continue to defend your lands.
Constitution est suspendue.
1. The Constitution is suspended. 2. The Transitional Charter is dissolved. 3. The government is dissolved. 4. The Transitional Legislative Assembly is dissolved. 5. The land and air borders are closed from 30th of September 2022 at 0 hours until further notice. 6. A curfew is introduced from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. 7. All political activity is suspended. 8. All activities of civil society organisations are suspended. 9. The nation's active forces will be convened in the near future to adopt a new transitional charter and to designate a new civilian or military president.
I solemnly swear before the Burkinabe people and on my honor to preserve, respect, enforce, and defend the Constitution and the Transitional Charter with unwavering commitment. He is far from doing everything to ensure justice for all the inhabitants of Burkina Faso.
When thousands of Nigerians died in their hospital beds due to lack of electricity or lack of medicine, it is a crime. They are responsible for these sanctions. They are responsible for these deaths. Same thing is happening in Mali. With Burkina, we have indirect sanctions because people need to understand. When they understand, there are instructions from the other side. Some have decided not to supply electricity to our countries. It's not free, we pay for it. And it contributes to their economy. They tried to make Mali suffer. And of course, by ignoring all the agreements and no longer providing electricity to Mali, hoping that the population would revolt, it doesn't work.
Burkina Faso, a country larger than both the UK and New Zealand at 274,200 square kilometers, had only 3,462 kilometers of roads built in the 62 years following independence. That's barely scratching the surface. But when Abrahim Traore came to power in September 2022, everything changed. He imported 900 road construction machines and set an ambitious target, 5,000 kilometers of roads per year. In just a short time, he's already close to surpassing the total roadwork done in the nation's entire post-independence history. Of course, this kind of progress doesn't sit well with certain global powers. The imperialists want him out. But the real question is, will we just sit back and let them?
President Traore is standing up. He is saying the natural resources in Burkina Faso, they belong to the people of Burkina Faso. Niger is doing the same thing. Mali is doing the same thing. Every leader must look at what's happening in the Sahel nations to say, like anybody else, you must take care of your people. You have your natural resources. You have everything you need to take care of your people. Why do you continue to be beggars? Look at what is being brought in by not only USAID, but all the NGOs in your country. It's
Hosanna Bukole, Hallelujah. Hosanna Bukole, Hallelujah. Hosanna Limambo, Hallelujah. Hosanna Limambo, Hallelujah. Hosanna Maombi, Hallelujah. Navanda kinangae azabi melingayo halo binangai Dambazali nangaye azabi belingayo Salombi nangaye Sambazali layo Pasola lole
The youngest president in Africa. Who is Abrahim Traore? At just 34 years old, he became the leader of Burkina Faso. But is he a hero or a controversial figure? In 2022, Abrahim Traore shocked the world when he led a military coup in Burkina Faso, overthrowing the government and declaring himself the youngest president in Africa. At just 34 years old, he took power, promising to restore security and fight terrorism. But who is Traore? Born in Kaya, Burkina Faso, he joined the army at a young age, quickly rising through the ranks. As an artillery officer, he became frustrated with the government's failure to stop jihadist attacks, leading him to stage a coup against the previous leader, Paul-Henri Damiba. Many see him as a strong, fearless leader, while others fear he represents a new wave of military rule in Africa. His government cut ties with France, aligning instead with Russia and other African allies. But is his leadership working? Burkina Faso remains in crisis, and only time will tell if Traore is the leader who will bring true change. Despite his military background, Traore insists he has no desire to stay in power permanently and claims elections will be held soon. Is Abrahim Traore the leader Burkina Faso needs, or just another military ruler? Drop your thoughts in the comments.
President Abrahim Traore joined the army of Burkina Faso in 2009 and graduated from the Georges Namawono Military Academy. This marked the beginning of his military career, which could later transform him into a beloved president. He is now in Burkina Faso. Since joining the army, a number of military operations he has been involved have declared his resilient nature, which he is also showcasing against various groups of people, limiting what Burkina Faso has to achieve. Through possessing various military skills, including aerial combat skills, which he obtained when he was sent to Morocco for anti-aircraft training before being transferred to an infantry unit in Kaya, a town in northern Burkina Faso, President Traore is declaring his readiness when fighting in various military operations. When we talk about courage, President Abrahim Traore has always been moving through it since joining the military. Being courageous, bold, and ready for anything concerning the military, President Abrahim Traore managed to stand out, hence being lifted in military ranks due to his unwavering efforts towards insurgency in Burkina Faso.
This might be the richest president in the world, but not in the way you think. Burkina Faso's president, Abrahim Traore, 37, has declared his net worth at just $128,566 and has ordered all government officials to declare their assets by March 24, 2025. He warned that any false declarations or failure to comply will lead to prosecution. Traore also rejected a salary increase, choosing to keep his military pay, and has banned officials from doing business with the state to fight corruption. While other leaders amass wealth, Traore is proving that real power comes from integrity, not money.
There is a country that could not defend itself, which had to come and take our ancestors to go defend them. And today that same country wants to give us lessons. The pot calling the kettle black. No, you are the descendants of those same ancestors who went to defend others.
Who is Abrahim Traore, the soldier turned president shaking up Burkina Faso? Did you know this man went from commanding troops to leading a nation, all before turning 35? Let's break down some unknown facts about Captain Abrahim Traore. Fact 1. Youngest leader in the world. Born March 14, 1988, Traore became the world's youngest head of state when he took power in September 2022. At just 34 years old, he led a coup that ousted Paul-Henri Damiba, and in just 1 week, he was officially Burkina Faso's 5th president. Fact 2. From soldier to head of state. Traore is not your average politician. He's a seasoned soldier. A graduate of the George Namoano Military Academy, he climbed the ranks in the Burkinabe Army and became a captain in the elite Cobra Special Forces. His battlefield experience includes fighting in the Mali War and taking on Islamist insurgents. Fact 3. The coup master. Not once, but twice. Traore played a key role in both the January and September 2022 coups. When Damiba failed to stop insurgent attacks, Traore and his forces made a bold move, seizing power in just hours. Fact 4. Mysterious and low profile. Despite being the president, Traore keeps a low profile. No flashy speeches, no social media rants, just action.